Merits in your money, pros and cons. Let's get it started. Indeed. Thank you so much for sharing your Wednesday night with me. It is a wonderful evening, We got so much info to cover. So much. I tell you, knowledge can be powerful if we use it. Knowledge can really be powerful. How you doing, Queen Howard? Did I disappear off the screen for a second? I was looking at something. I came back and it was like, I was gone. I hope y'all are doing okay. Yeah, I saw that too. It is a good evening. We're gonna talk about money, being single, being married, we got so much to cover on this. Marriage and your money. I don't think I was just looking at the way I did pros and cons. It's like the pros as a possessive. Pros and cons. I don't think I was supposed to do it that way. But at least it stands out that way. There are so many pros and cons. How are you? Mr. Harden? We have to get together. I know y'all are doing all sorts of exciting things in your household. No? I live through y'all vicariously. Young love over at the Hardens. How are you, Mr. Newell? Yes, we do. So just know that Chelsea is sitting there waiting for you to make sure that we get connected. What a good way to make sure that you do it. But now that I said that, then I'll remember that you didn't do it and I'll make sure we talk. So that's good. That is good. Yes. I don't know what happened. I'm going to send the link for members to get into the studio. I'm glad that you said that because Mr. Jones will say that and he'll say, oh, there's an invite. There's an invite button. Watch this. Technology. I'm going to put it right there. Oh, you know what? Oh, yeah, I did put that up there. But I don't know why. The link's not working. They'll say something later. Restream will say, oh, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, say it now. But any member who's got the guts to come in on this studio, you're going to have 2 single women in the studio. We really need it. And then that Reverend Bozeman is taking care of his wife. He is happily married, and we are praying for her to be on the mend. We're praying with y'all, Reverend Bozeman. We're praying with y'all. That a true advantage of marriage, when you have a good husband like Reverend Bozeman, and you are not doing so well, they can help you be on the mend. Just like a good person that loves you, which is now referred to like, what do they call it? A partner. That seems so let's just say non-married soulmate or something. What should we call people that live together and love each other, and if their loved one gets sick, they would take care of them too, right? So I'm so glad, Mr. Newell, you're feeling blessed. You are indeed blessed. So when we talk about pros and cons, I'm going to try to focus as much as possible on just like financial stuff. because personally, you know, the pros and cons of being married or being single, shoot, it's like, it's, you know, that's kind of it's up to personal opinion. So all I can do is like just share basic numbers, but then some of the number stuff doesn't really apply to people. But they say, now I want to know what y'all think. How are you? Hotep, back to you. Indeed. The like if you, which one do you think? What do you think? Just those who are willing to say, do you prefer marriage or single? If you were giving someone, or no, let's just say you don't even give anybody advice. Would you prefer to be married or single financially? If you looked at it from a financial perspective, you know, I was reading an article and this lady was sharing that traditionally marriage was a business. It was a contract. No, and that the thought of getting married for love is a new concept. Do you all believe that? Do you think of the getting married for love as a new concept? No. And look, like, if I had like changed this title, I wonder if more people would have participated or be watching it live if I had said like the pros and cons of being single. No, I don't know. But I think that when you change the way you say things, like, you can't just say yes. You got to tell me what yes you're saying yes. What you're saying yes. You can't say yes because I asked like a question like, which one would you prefer? Which one would you prefer? And then you put marriage or being single. No, and then, and when I propose in that, we're thinking of single people, but you don't live together. Oh, you're saying yes, it is a business. That it was a business. It was looked at as a business. So good evening back at you, Ms. Daniels. So would you say, yeah, Mr. Harden, please turn on your camera so I can see you. It would be even better if your spouse was there with you. We would really have it going on. No, I mean, I need some spouses to check in and not just be watching over there quietly. But so with marriage being seen as a business, and that people would get married and they feel like, you know, they would have to get married and have children. So it could be that now it is like acceptable that people don't have to be married to have children. Like there was a time where would you say, Miss Taliaferro, that there was a time where, you know, having children but not being married, you know, was, you know, rare. It was rare. And then now, so that was a big part of the business decision when people were getting married and viewing it as a business. They were like, we got to be together so that we can take care of the children. Maybe. No, maybe. But y'all got to give me feedback, you know. One person saying it's not frowned upon like before, and women don't make it a requirement before relations. You're saying that women don't make marriage a requirement before sexual relations? Is that what you're referring to? Oh, yeah. That exactly. I definitely know that I was brought up that way. And if I wasn't brought up that way, I don't think I probably would have ever got married. How you doing, Mr. Jones? We put the I put the link. The one for some reason in there isn't working, but the link is in. There's the link again. The members, because Mr. Harden won't turn on his camera. I need someone to come in and talk to me. I need y'all to, but y'all doing a great job. King Hollis, I see you. King Hollis, hit that. Come on in the studio. And Mr. Sloan said, yeah, there's new wave young people now. No, I actually, it wasn't until I got to college that I actually met someone, and she said, like, I want to have a child, but I'm not really interested in getting married. But it wasn't until I got to college. But these young people now, it's probably more common that that they don't have, like, see, Mr. Harden, Mr. Jones turned on his camera, so you got to turn on your camera so then he won't be afraid. Oh, that's so good. Look at that. I got two brothers. We got brothers in the house. We got brothers in the house. They ain't scared. I got one married and one single. I'm not going to tell y'all which one is which unless they disclose on their own. You got to just figure it out. Make them figure it out. This is going to be good. I'll represent all the women in America and the United States and abroad. Because they won't come in. So y'all gonna let me talk about, I'm going to represent all of the women in the whole wide world. Y'all can represent all the men in the whole world. So you don't even have to say the word I. You can say we, okay? Don't even worry about it. Just make them mad. This is what we think, like the experts do on TV. But one of you mentioned that, women don't now set it as a requirement before, getting married. Like it doesn't, it's not a requirement, but it's also not sexuality now is not a criteria for men to feel like they should stay. You know what I'm saying? Like just to be honest, I asked my ex that just left me, I said, do you care if I'm with anyone else? And he said no. And only because of myself, like it didn't motivate me at all. So even though I'm divorced and everything now, I still haven't been with anyone else. But that's just because of my parents and my relationship with God. But he didn't see sexuality as connected to marriage or the value of it or anything. And even if I had, he still would have come back and tried to do it with me. You know what I'm saying? It really wouldn't have mattered. Sexuality is like, things are just different now. I mean, that's unimaginable to me. Y'all look like I can't believe she said that. But it's true. Might as well be honest. So you have like a whole different value system, and I don't know if it's just mostly in our community because white people are continuing to get married. Black people are not.
Is it looking like they getting married more because they have a larger community than we do? Or by the stats in the U.S., there are more white people in the U.S. than black people. So wouldn't it just assume that they are getting married at higher rates? I don't really think they are. In my personal opinion, it seems like everybody's struggling the same way.
Oh, like yeah, but they've been getting married at higher rates than us for a while, but they're getting married later in life. But like my white friend said today, but we'll get divorced. And it will, like, they'll, you know what I'm saying? They will, like, I mean, you look at these billionaires that have been getting divorced. They are not afraid of divorce. Like, so, you know, some of our people will be like, have like $1,000, and they'd be like, I ain't giving her her that $1,000. You know, it's like, like, so you just, you know, so we like kind of, you know, just have a different value system. But if we look at it just financially, there are more benefits financially for people, for us, or for people to be married if they have money. If they have money. I know King Hollis is about to come and he's going like, the hell it is. It's like what in the world? I'm gonna get this logo off so that when he comes in, out of respect for the king, so when he comes in, it won't be cutting off Henry's face. So there we go. Y'all probably don't see it the way I see it, but yeah, I see everybody now. How you doing, King Hollis?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I know you came in right when I was saying marriage is beneficial to you financially. And then you're like, and I saw your, face like, what? And I'm saying, like, if everything goes the way you plan, from a tax perspective, from an estate planning perspective, if people stay together forever till they get their Social Security, that it's actually, you have a lot more options financially for people with money if they're married. For example, and I'm saying if they're married and they don't live together, if they're single. Now, because if I use the example of people, you buy a house, you have both names on it, and they're single, and they sell it, they good. It's the same because each of them gets to write off $250,000 in capital gains. They own it together. They split that gain. They're married, but if they're living together, but there's only one person with their name on that house, and that happens a lot, then they sell it and they make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, but they're single and they got to do a single tax return. They can't write that off. They can't write off the $500,000 that the married couple could write off. The single person could only write off the $250,000. So it's almost like, but they're living with someone. And then pity the person that live with them, Because if that person, if their name's not on that deed, it's going to be real complicated for a non-married person to get any rights to that property. But if they were married, even if their name wasn't on the deed, they'd have certain rights given to them just because they're married, without their name on it. Some of that is theirs. So, so some people will say, like, don't get married because then you get divorced and you got all that paperwork and you so and so and so. But you married and you break up, you have a lot more protection. Because you could go, like, just say, my last marriage, and he was the one with the money. He would have had to pay me spousal support. You can't just bounce. But men choose to just bounce. He chose to just bounce, and I can say this because I'm divorced. But he chose to just bounce. Men do that all the time. They'll be living with a woman and the house is just hers, or or this is just hers, and then really he with me long enough to get like any rights anything. But this woman is with him forever. This woman been with a guy forever, but he never married her. She's helping him pay the bills. She has no rights. Or he. I know a man that's been with this woman like 40, 50 years. They both old now. He was a younger man, but now she real old, and he's still younger, but he old too. He's not on nothing.
So he wouldn't be able to file anything saying, okay,
And she don't have kids with him. She don't have kids with him. She don't have no kids, like, on the right, now the kids kind of help, because you got some connection. Like, after James Brown died, they discovered that his wife was still married. Or even right before he died, like, he discovered, like, she was married to some other dude. She never got her divorce. So she ain't get nothing. But she has his minor son, though. So all the money for the minor son goes through her. She gonna be good till at least that kid gets 18, which is it's about 18 by now. But it looks like his child looks like Michael Jackson to me. Have you ever seen James Brown's youngest son? His other kids look just like him. Even his daughter looks just like him. But he really had his stuff together, of like all the people, like people would have thought that James Brown died broke, but no, he did not. He died with an estate plan intact. But this woman was mad, so then she made it into a big issue. But he had it intact. My stuff goes to my kids, and my stuff goes to this orphanage. You know what I mean? He wanted to take care of kids that were like him, didn't have any family. But he had a plan, so we can't judge a book by its dance. Don't. No, he was not like dumb by any means. But it's not like your habits can't jack you up, though. He had a problem. It's really hard being an intelligent black person anyway. Y'all know that. It is not easy. So it is no surprise to me that so many intelligent black people go into substance abuse, because you got to get away from this world that nobody understands what you're talking about. It must be so difficult. It is so much easier to be average. And I don't think we ever acknowledge that. Like, it is hard, like, being black with a mission and a plan, So if you can get into a situation where you have someone that respects you and understands you and loves you, every time I got married, I swear I thought I had that. Woo! God's grace is sufficient. Lord, it is. How I got over. I should break out with that gospel song. I don't know. But we're still here. But I wish divorce on no one. I laugh about it now, but y'all remember when I used to cry. Like, it does not get any easier. Lord knows somebody should not have to go through it multiple times. But I know that we deal with stuff, each of us, black men and black women, and according to the statistics, the research says that a black woman, I sent out that book with y'all invitation, and I think it was in his book that I was saying that black women are more committed to the black man. Like, we're less likely to date anyone out of our race. Like myself, I have found that to be true. No matter how many schools I've gone to, and the only black person in the room, how many white men have asked me out, have expressed interest, have wanted to help me, I have never dated or touched a white man. And I was thinking that when I read that research, I said, Lord, I thought I was the only person like that. Like, I don't know. Our level of commitment is so high. And I've explained to black women often as like, black men do not discriminate in the way they share their love.
But we
No,
still marry black women the most.
you think so?
Yeah, they said black people marry black people the most. I mean, people are going to find love wherever they can. But
You
you still
just
marry each other more than anybody else
you just are more likely. But now that it's changing though, I see
because the
more.
world's becoming bigger. Yeah, you
Don't
didn't
you
have that
see
many
that?
options before. Now we're
Yeah.
becoming global.
Yeah. And you see more and more black women dating outside the race.
Hmm.
And um I wonder if it's going and married to white men. And I think that a lot of the reason that black people don't get married is because, and I saw this also in his book about is marriage for white people? Why aren't African Americans getting married? And it was saying that it's an economic issue. You know, if you don't feel that you could take care of someone, then you're not going to get married. You know, the so a lot of if black men, you know, are feeling like I can't or I'm not comfortable with that amount of responsibility, you know, then they're not gonna get married. And a woman will say like, well, you know, I got it. But I think black men still have that stereotype that they should be the breadwinner. They should be
Well,
the making the
that's what
most money.
that's what we've been told. Like when we go out date, so it's always how we're not asking the lady how much money are you making. That's not a first date question. But typically nowadays, that's a first or second date question for ladies. So how much you making?
Women ask men.
Yeah, this is they're more
That is
comfortable
so
saying, "Hey, how
tacky.
much you making?" Like,
That is
"Hey, like,
so tacky.
what do you do? What is your profession?" Some of these ladies are,
Oh, she better
you
check
know,
that out on social media. Look,
I mean,
you better just be verifying. Oh, so you work at? I'm just about. Don't you go on no date on somebody you don't even know where he worked.
that's why a lot of guys flash with jewelry when they go out on dates. Make it seem like they got a lot of money. Girls turn their heads, at least look twice. You get a second look. If you got that
Isn't
if
that
you got
true
that
though?
Rolex
Isn't
on,
that true? Isn't
you'll
that
get a
true?
second look. She might not talk to you, but you at least get a second look.
But you know what? If I had a room full of women though, they wouldn't admit it. They wouldn't admit it. Like you know, I'm not around enough people to know like you know you all because I work so much. But I would say that was true because I have so many clients saying that they keep meeting what they describe as gold diggers. And I tell them that what you should do is do your best not to flex. Like, so you have to have the old car before you move out, pull out the new car. Like, my life has been so much better since I stopped driving a luxury car. You know what I'm saying? There's a large percentage of even men that move on. Because they go, man, she must be struggling. Because they don't know how I'm living. You know what I'm saying? So when they see me pull up in my Jeep Wrangler stick shift, happy as a lark, you know. And that's really sad. When we're checking net worth off clothing items and cars, you know what I'm saying? That is ridiculous. But that's, you know, tells you also where they're, you know, like a woman told me one time, she was like, he don't have nothing because, you know, and the way it was stressing it on, you know, or this one, he made good money because he, you know he can help me more. He can help me more. And I'm just like, well, if he has all those things that you said he has, he ain't got no money left to help you. He got to pay taxes. this man got a corporate job. Like exactly how much you think he making a month after taxes?
Yeah,
Good
the money
Lord.
ain't stretching as far as it used to for a
Right?
stretch. Yeah, and
That
then
man got a car. He got kids. He got an ex-wife, another ex-wife. You know what I mean? Kids with that one. Kids with this one. You know, the luxury car, the house, the girl.
well, when you get biblical, there's it go straight biblical. People be like, well, in the Bible, the man's supposed to take care of the woman, but take care of her how? Provide a roof, food, clothing, not a Birkin bag. That's a
But
different
I don't
conversation.
even see that in the Bible. You know, like protect. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And we should submit to him. But in Proverbs 31, it says she hustling. When
Yeah,
it
she's
reads,
supposed to be his helpmate.
she
She's supposed
is
to be his
hustling. She
helpmate.
gets up before sunrise. I'm with Proverbs
But
31 woman.
it
But who
don't
would
tell her that she
describe,
got to bring the money to the man. That's
you
the part
know?
that at the end of the day, she
Oh,
needs to
oh, if
keep
it
her money
didn't tell
separate.
her, if it
It
didn't,
doesn't say you got to bring that
isn't
cash
that
to him.
sad? But she
Yeah.
brings it to the house.
Mm,
She's doing it for the house. It says
I
she,
agree.
you know what I'm saying? She makes her own clothes. She got her own business. She got her own money. She got
Her
for.
own,
She's
right? You
doing
see
it.
that?
No,
Her
no,
own.
no. She's making her own. But
I know. I
it
know.
does say for the household.
It does say for the household, but who gets to determine how that's spent is based off of your mindset. So, oh
And
well,
that's
I
sad.
think this is
Or
better this way.
how she wants to like say, well,
Hmm.
mine is for me. Mine is for me.
I'm helping the household by making myself look better.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Don't you like it?
yeah, don't you like
Exactly. There's something to be said for that too.
it?
Look, that's true. But your hair don't have to cost $1,000 a month. Look, so
Man,
oh my,
I should have went into the wig business.
right? 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 You gonna get smacked, boy. You gonna get smacked. You lucky I don't have your name up there. But I'm telling you, it's the truth. Oh my goodness. But the wig, they even made a wig expensive now because now people got to wear different wigs and then you got to get the wig got to fit exactly right and all of that. Like, how did they make a cheap wig, which is supposed to be saving us money, become expensive now? They charge them as much as a weave. You know what I mean? For the wig.
Yeah. I saw a message someone talk about common law marriage. That don't play into effect because I used to think that
Mm.
if you was with a person for like 7 years, regardless of whether y'all married or not, and you break up, hey, you got to come see me in court if I feel some kind of way about it.
Good point. See, no, many, especially the federal government is not
Hmm.
recognizing that. Like you might get somewhere with the state as far as I don't know, something with the state, but not with
Hmm.
the federal government. You don't have the
For any
benefit
state.
of passing on. And especially like I know of a couple in New York that ran into that because he was with her forever living in the apartment. You know how they have the controlled rent? But everything was in her name.
Yeah.
So when she died, they were like, unless you can prove that y'all got married, like you know what I'm saying, in our law,
Hmm.
because you can go and get married, and a lot of people are doing the ceremony, but never doing the paperwork. Some religions will allow them to do the ceremony, but they don't get the paperwork. Well, that's where not having the paperwork will jack you up. Because unless you have to provide to your employer the paperwork in order for their health care premiums to be deductible. So even if they say, okay, we'll let you cover a partner living in your house on the health insurance,
Hmm.
you don't get the tax benefit that you get from paying for a spouse's health insurance. So, and a lot of people don't know that. They go, I got them on my insurance, but they don't realize they're not getting the same tax benefit for their own, that they're paying like their half. Yes, you're doing that pre-tax or whatever they let you do. But the other part, no, you have no tax benefit on that. So unless it's your spouse. So but one thing that I think keeps us unmarried with people that have children is that you have the head of household
Hmm.
and the individual. So the head of household and individual totals a higher standard deduction. And the majority of our community uses the standard deduction. So even if they have a house, it's not enough. You know what I mean? For the majority of our community to get enough to not do the standard deduction. All your itemized have to equal higher than, like on a head of household, it's like 18,000 plus.
Whoa. Okay. Didn't know that.
Isn't that something? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So 18,000 plus your 12,000 as an individual. A married couple only gets 24. You know, they're getting more than that. They're getting like 30.
See, I didn't know that because, yeah, head of house, I've seen a lot of people filing head of household when they got
Yeah,
like
and
two,
it's,
three
even if they're
kids.
living in the same house, you know what I'm saying? That, and then they have to be, if they're smart about who puts them on whose taxes.
Yeah, the argument, who's going to put the kids on the taxes this year?
But they got to be smart about it. Because sometimes it should be the lower income earner because she has the earned income tax credit. You know what I'm saying? So her tax return, or his, whoever, the lower income. See, but the woman will automatically think the kids should be with me.
Because you get that six,
But in a lot of
7,000
our households, he's making the lower amount. So she's scared that if I put the kids on his, then he's going to keep, you know what I mean, all the money.
Keep the money.
See? But if they were married, she wouldn't be scared like that. And that's what it costs you. You know what I mean? When we have children with someone we're not married to. Because, you know, you feel like, oh, we just like married. We together, we ain't married. But nah, there's a little something. That other person is not as responsible for you, nor are they legally responsible for you. So I'm like, they're legally responsible for you. Something happened, you know what I mean, to a person that's married, that other person is their responsibility. And I don't think a lot of people who do get married because of the love thing, that we really realize that. You know? I really realize that. I don't know why, but I've always just felt like I have responsibility. So I just do everything. When I'm single, my life is so much easier because I don't have to live by this criteria that I feel like I should cook all the meals and clean the house. The house should be spotless. You know what I mean? Single is just so good to me. Woo!
You don't have to think about anybody else.
You know, my daughter is grown. You know what I'm saying? She grown. I get to work out all the time. I get the best body when I'm single. You know, nobody show it to, but I look good. But but you get the, you know what I'm saying? Like how I don't know. I would need to have someone who is really about helping me. You know, really, it's got to be to your benefit. You know what I mean? For me, it has to be to my benefit health-wise, not just, you know what I mean? Oh, I see, you know, it'd be nice to have somebody sit down and talk to, you know, because the companionship is cool, but now I'm so exhausted, I just fall out of sleep. I'll be out. I have new goals. My goal is get 6 hours of sleep. When I was married, I would get like 3.5. Lord, I don't know how I did it. I looked at the videos when I was married. I was like, I looked a hot mess. I don't know why y'all didn't tell me. JB, you look a mess. I looked at one, I was like, oh my God. You're not even of sound mind.
Well, I
did better as a single parent than being married. Especially this last time. Just like, oh, wow. So, but you got to get to know yourself. You got to get to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I know, like, no, you know, when I was a little girl, I did not look at none of them little magazines with the girls in the wedding dress. It was never a goal in my life, ever, in my whole life, to ever get married. Ever. I just felt that I was required to do it, you know what I mean? Because of my relationship with God. So me and God have an agreement now. I'm cool. I'm good. You know, but that, you know, everybody has to kind of reach that level of maturity that it's like, that's not for me. So in order to realize that's not for me, focus on what really is for you. And that's where all my fitness goals came in. Because as I told y'all before, exercise gives you a lot of the same benefits as being sexually active does. I think a lot of times, like, people don't take care of themselves, when they have that same problem. Like, they don't take as good care of themselves when they're in a loving relationship or in a relationship, because they feel like, they're getting enough from the
Now, all right.
relationship.
So my wife has food for me when she comes home, and it's like sometimes I'm not that hungry, but she just made this plate. I'm
Exactly.
not gonna tell this woman who worked hard to make me a plate that I don't want.
Yes, you better eat that
Like,
plate. I'll be like, boy, you eat, because that's a pro and
yeah.
a con. That's a pro and a con. You better eat that plate, and you better act like it's the last meal on this earth. You know how many men wish they had a woman cook some food for them?
So,
And
yeah.
she is running around trying to get that food right. And I know it's some good Jamaican food. Yes, you better eat that food. And she got the music playing. She's like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's so true, though.
I get that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't be hungry.
I
I'm not
used to
hungry.
love that. I used to love, like, cook food, and then I would later put the plate. I would always bring the plate to him. I put the plate down, and he would go, "Oh my God!" I'd be like, "Ah!" I feel like such a sense of achievement. Like, that was like one of the most exciting things. Like, he was more enthusiastic about food than anything else. Like,
I think it's just simple. I don't know about
yeah,
every man, but I
yeah,
don't really need that many fancy things. Good meal.
amen. Amen. Exactly. And it got to the point where I know probably he misses my cooking and food and quality of food more than me. Like, it's like, she was getting on my nerves, but I love that food. Because I like be cooking them big ribeyes and organic food,
Mm-hmm.
but that, and I was telling a young lady the other day, I think that it is, that marriage, like, she was like, oh my goodness, I would never do that, I never do it. And I was like, no, I think that marriage is wonderful. You know what I mean? I think it's beautiful. And a lot of people won't do it because of the fear of getting a divorce. And, I would still not, if I had to choose, like, you'll never go through the disappointment of divorce if you don't, get this. I would still choose to go through it. I would still choose to have experienced that love, that fun while it was fun. I would take the fun than to avoid. I'm, and maybe it's because I'm a risk taker, but I would still take that chance at something amazing. I think it's worth it. And I know what my parents' relationship, it was when they got into the latter years with their marriage, that's when they really kind of got into a groove. But when we were little, I know it was hard. It was hard on us living with them. But what they made it through, you know what I'm saying? They're like, was it, before my dad passed, like, they be walking around holding hands and stuff. Like, it was not like that when they were younger. So, but you gotta know that because they were married, all of my dad's assets transferred to my mother without being a taxable event. Even the retirement accounts, when you're married, can be taken over by the spouse, and it is not a taxable event. So, Mr. Jones, King Hollis, we can get married before
Will the debt still be required by the spouse?
Exactly. You deem like, I only got 10 days, JB. Let's get married right now. Okay, I'm with you.
Will the debt still be responsible by the spouse who got married? Is that,
Not if it's not joint. You know what I mean? It will go to the state. Yeah, but that's a good point. Good point. The debt, but you don't have to pay your spouse's debt. They will come after you, but you will say, nah, it's the estate. But the assets that have you as beneficiary aren't going to the estate. So they would only, if debtors try to get at the estate, typically they don't, but if they do, you want to make sure that you have as few assets as possible going to the estate. And a lot of people do that. So if you're married, this is the worst thing though. Being married and having no connection. Like, people can be married but not know how much life insurance the other person has. Not know what retirement account they have. Not know, so you have these joint debts, but you don't have any way to pay them off if that person passes. Do not go into debt with someone whom you don't know how that debt would be paid off when they pass. Because you got that debt, like you got a joint debt, both y'all names on it. And I've seen this happen to people like boyfriend, girlfriend, not married, and he don't have her name on nothing. And she still got to pay that debt.
Ouch.
Yeah, because he's looking out for his kids. He's looking out for his ex-wife in some situations. They still, or current wife in some situations. You know what I'm saying? If people like put themselves in that situation, when you have to realize, they have to realize how much that is costing you. We joke about side chick and all this stuff, but that can be expensive. If that becomes a lifelong plan, thinking that at some point you're going to be number one. They got songs about it. That side chick song, I can't stand it. Side chick. What in the world? Have you heard that song, Mr. Johnson? You haven't heard it? Lord, don't let me find that song. See, we be playing it at the end, Lord. You've heard it, right, Mr. Harden?
I've heard songs.
Oh, like that. Oh my God! But there is a anthem, black anthem now. I'm talking about side chick. And I saw these two married women one time. I was at this thing, and I said, "Why y'all singing that song? Do you realize what you're singing?"
It's how life is.
No. And they were like, "Lord, she going through a divorce. Get her." She mad at the side chick. I ain't mad at the side chick. I just don't like that song. Look, side chick need love too. Oh, here it is, the side chick song. I don't know. I wonder if this is really it. I don't know. This is probably another one. Like you said, there are a lot. That's crazy. That's crazy, Mr. Jones.
The only side chick song I know was back in the days from the Pointer Sisters. I know you got a chick on the side.
Oh, that's a good one. I forgot about that. You are so good. Nah, I don't know. This is like the one like Clarence Carter type song. This one this girl it's a I'm gonna try Clarence Carter. Maybe his name is Clarence. No, it ain't. I can't believe it. I know people out there what in the world? Let me look at the chats. They gonna know. They know what I'm talking about. Y'all know the side chick song, Mr. Sloan. Lord. Miss Daniels amen, sis. LOL. Oh, it's side piece. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love you, Mr. Jenkins. You need to be in here anyway. That's it. My side piece. Pokey side piece. Yes. Oh my goodness. They're going to copyright me. There you go.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah. Exactly. She said, we just been left home to be with my side piece. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, I'm dancing to it.
Yes.
I can't believe I started dancing to it.
I saw that.
Oh my God.
I saw that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Excuse me, Lord. rebuke that. That got, you know, it has a nice beat though. But I don't have no man, so I can dance to it. But nobody's wife should be liking that song. I said side chick. You're the chick on the side. Thank you so much, Mr. Jenkins. Oh, it does, Queen Howard. She said nice beat. It really does have a nice beat. I don't know. Yes, but side piece gets nothing. But if side piece somehow gets him to put that on the form, like on the paperwork, it's his. It's hers. It's his or her, whoever the side piece is. Because you have a side piece man too. Now, the side piece, like, you know, but legally, the like, oh, she can't see it. Mr. Jones said hi. It's over there. These are people on different social media sites. But Mr. Jones said hi. But legally, the will can be overstepped with a contract. So people like who say like, oh, they didn't leave you anything because, you know, there's no excuse. You can put it, unless it's a work retirement plan. Now, work retirement plan, you're going to have to be pretty particular. Like, you're going to have to be so good that you can get your wife to sign off that your side piece can be your beneficiary. But other than the work plans, you can have whoever you want as the beneficiary. But I think that it's important to communicate what you're doing with your assets when you have debts with someone. And that's the major point. So that when people are married, be married. It's real dangerous when people are married, but they're not married. Like, you know, they're married, but they live with their side piece and they've been with their side piece for 20 years. That's not a side piece. That's your woman. And you need to get a divorce, or that's your man. Like, you know what I mean? You need to get your paperwork right. Because that's at a disadvantage. Like, they're at a disadvantage and it's not funny.
JB, may I interject?
Yes.
JB, may I interject?
Yes, please. Uh-huh.
I know a guy had a side piece, and what he did, he took out her insurance and made her the beneficiary.
Nice. Yeah.
That's what he did. He made his side piece the beneficiary.
Yeah.
Of his insurance.
Yeah, of that policy, because he probably had another policy, you know? But you gotta, like, one of the first customers I ever had at the firm, her husband died in the bed with his side piece. A massive heart attack. But they knew about each other and everything, but he still had everything coming to his wife. And it helped out the business. But when she told me, like, she wasn't upset or anything. You know, but but I'm gonna tell you, the side piece has to go through a lot of work to try to get the death certificate, unless you're good friends with that wife. You know, you gotta be good, cause I don't know. I guess after a while, maybe they'll be able to get it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. They'll definitely have to pay for it at some point, but the immediate family is getting them at the funeral home like that. So they can, because you need the death certificate in order to get.
Yes, but you can send off to the state and get the death certificate.
That's, I was thinking. Eventually.
You can do that.
Eventually, yeah. It'll just be slower. Yeah. But don't be greedy and trying to bust up in the funeral home to get it.
Exactly. You sure can.
Look, take your time and get it, but you can get it. But that's, you know what I mean? That's a rarity what King House was talking about, where the guy will actually look out, for the side piece like that. And plus he had to be healthy enough to get that policy. But he could have done, he could have done other things. But it probably made her feel better because she was like, and especially if they had joint together, things together, like say he had bought her a car and it still had payments. And still had a balance on the loan. And he was, like, she was like, what if something happens to you because I can't make this payment? And if it's like trying to take care of her for the rest of her life, he need to call me and see how much. He probably ain't want to buy that policy. So all it is taking care of you for a little bit while the wife is getting the pension for the rest of her life. So it's a difference, but you got to run the numbers. But that's why you got to be careful who you pick as a side piece, because they can't be too smart. Can you imagine me as a side piece? I'll be trying to figure out. I'll be like, look,
Well,
approximately.
At least you're thinking about them.
Exactly.
You're not leaving them out in the cold.
Oh, he said at least he got a little something.
At least you're thinking about it.
I know. You got to pick the right girl to be your side piece. She can't be too smart.
Yeah.
Because I'll be figuring that thing out. Woo! I met this one guy, and he was going through a divorce, and he kept asking me questions, and he was really good looking. I had to stop seeing him because I felt that the wife was at such a disadvantage with me liking him like that. And I was like, I was hooking him up. Like this, do this. I was like, no. I can't.
But
And I just stopped talking to him. He don't even know why I stopped talking to him. I was just like, I'm telling you too much.
Well, they changed Florida so you can't get permanent alimony no more.
Wow.
So that's gone. A lot of widows or a lot of ex-wives are upset in South Florida right now, or in Florida in general.
But that's a freaking good commitment, though. Who in the world can pay permanent alimony?
You got a lot of rich people down here. People retire in Florida.
Right?
So you got a lot of retired, rich women who are ex-wives or...
I could get them, though. Like, we could put it into something that would give them, you know what I mean? Income for life or something like that. Like, that that's probably what they did. That's why insurance business is huge in Florida. You know what I'm saying? They put it into a guaranteed annuity that, he put in like $1 million, say her payout was $40,000, you know what I mean? For the rest of her life, he'd have to put in like about $1 million, you know what I mean? To get that payout big enough to get her 40 a year. And then if she, because he's doing it that way, he could still become the beneficiary on it. Like he could do, I don't know. Because if you do it like lock in really for their life, the money is gone. But if you go like period certain, then it's like literally, like if he says, for her life, but you could have a beneficiary on the life. I just don't know if he can make himself the beneficiary for that payment, and it would be lower than what she was getting, but somebody could get it. They're not going to let her get it. So she would just put it on one life, because he probably can't benefit from her, It's probably some sort of law. You can't benefit from somebody's death because he go kill her. Like, you know what I mean? Because he'd be like, oh, now I'm going to get my half of that payment. So he probably couldn't do that. Or they go to him first. That's like some Dateline episode. Well, according to the alimony, that when it stopped paying her, it was going to pay him half. And he was like, get her. So we couldn't do that. But But I think she'd be better off with a lump sum. Because if she let him pay her a lump sum, then she could control, you know what I mean, the investment. And I could invest it for her, and she could have her own beneficiary. Her new husband could get half of her check.
But would that payment, if she was receiving alimony, would that be would that count as income, or would that just be because he already paid tax? Well, I'm assuming he would have already paid taxes on that money he gave her. Maybe that's why she was doing it.
They just changed the tax law
Hmm.
that people have to pay taxes
On
on
alimony.
alimony. Yeah, but they don't have to pay it on child support. So
Gotcha.
you see how these people in Hollywood are trying to put their alimony through child support. Did you see
Hmm.
that? There's this superstar. What's his name? Like Kevin Costner, I think. Is, like his wife was putting like Botox and these other things for herself into the child support. You know what I mean? When they said, "Why do you need 250?" There was only 2 kids. She gets 250,000 a month. I mean, who can pay that? A month. And Kevin's like, I can't pay that. Like,
They maxed out, and they can't think of the celebrity. It was a little spat because Georgia has a cap, so and they'll pay you a little above the cap, but that's pretty much it.
on the alimony?
Well, not alimony, child support.
Oh, wow, really? So
Yeah,
you,
and
oh,
I can't remember
wow.
what Love and Hip Hop star that was about.
Lord. Oh,
Yeah,
when he found out, he was loving that. I know, but you know how many entertainers should be residents of Georgia just because of that? Everybody in California should move to Georgia just because of that. Georgia's like, yes, pay taxes here. We will put a cap on that. But it's also Georgia's incentive probably because they're, mad. Well, first of all, that's just, if most of the people in the legislation are men, then they're going to do things, that are going to benefit them, which typically a man is the one paying child support. So they get to legislate their way, which is more the reason why women should run for office. But woman issues vary. They vary, like, and that's why a lot of times the people that are in office, they don't know the problems of the common person. And and a lot of, I'm telling you, basic financial reasons are the reasons why the number of black people getting married has declined. Because they don't have the $24 million estate, where if you're married, you can pass on an estate up to $24 million, to your spouse. I mean, really, how many of us are married about that? But but so it becomes like what they're more concerned about is getting approved for financial aid. You know what I mean? If our income is together, then the child's not going to get no financial aid. If their income is separate, they'll get financial aid. It kind of, these basic needs, or I'm going to get more help from the government, if I'm not married. Like, these basic things are very important for a large percentage of our community.
yeah, that it shouldn't be. I mean, because it keeps you trapped in one specific spot, and you can't. You're getting hurt now because rent's going up, and now a lot of people aren't taking those not food stamps. For people who need housing,
Vouchers and stuff.
People are opting out. People are opting out of vouchers. I can get way more money. I got a bigger risk, but I can get way more money just by getting regular tenants instead of going with the vouchers, where you're capped at how much you can charge, and I can charge whatever I want, just going outside of it. And people, at least in Florida, people are paying, or kind of paying, but
Yeah. Or if they have a voucher, they're paying a whole bunch more over it. You know
hmm
what I mean? Like $1,000 voucher, but the rent is 2,200.
hmm
You know what I mean? So they still got to come up with 1,200, just to get a decent place. No, that can be a lot. Because where are they going to find for $1,000?
you're just gonna end up having to move to the worst neighborhoods where the landlords are kind of scummy. So and
And
then
you know,
cycle
and,
continues.
and so many things are so poorly interpreted. When they put out, oh, black people aren't getting married, or black people, though, it's left for us to assume that we don't love each other, or we don't have the value system that they have, and things like that. But no, we have the value system, and we love, one another as much as possible. But there needs to be more communal support of couples being together. It needs to be like, people doing everything they can to keep Henry and his wife together, and, and encouraging words, and, saying, stay together, and, y'all can work this out, and this and that. But, when people go through things, people go, girl, you better get rid of that. You better get rid of that. You know how them black guys are. You better so-and-so, and if she, doesn't catch herself, or he doesn't catch himself, you'll get sucked up in it. And then over and not get married because you think, oh, it's going to help me more on my taxes. But not realizing how important that is for you down the road. Because there are going to be so many more job benefits that y'all can maximize because you're married. And it's so much, more helpful for, the children, especially if people bring, children, that it's, and it's so much so now it's like people without children are staying together longer than people with children.
It's too expensive to live by yourself. You gonna stay with that girl, even if y'all not,
right?
you don't like each other. Y'all
right?
gonna stay together. You might not get married,
right?
Y'all don't even like each other, but y'all gonna stay together. It's too expensive.
I would think that, but people still leave. But brothers, it's easier for brothers to leave because I believe a brother can always find another woman to be with if he wants to have a place to stay. He can find, another woman with a place, and he's good, at least for a while. But how can a woman who typically is the one that has the children, that easily just leave?
Once she added kids, that make it real tough.
Right? Real hard. And then it's just that, that gap of, so I think Ms. Davis, that she's just more likely to have seen her mother struggle, and she's more likely to say, you know what, she doesn't have, where a black woman is more likely to not have positive role models about marriages, unfortunately. I think, you know what I mean? Because I don't know. Because I've never been white. And I'm sure my white friends would say, no, we have horrible examples of marriage, But I think that they have more financial, they look at it still more as a contract. And they have more financial, they have more of them with money who would benefit more by the things that are set up to help married people. As a white person is more likely to benefit by needing a big capital gains tax write-off. They're more likely to, benefit, to have a job with benefits. Our community, we doesn't have enough people with jobs with benefits. So when we talk about, well, if we're married, we can do this and this and this, that's not applicable to a lot of us. So if it don't matter to me, all you're thinking about is how much money, all they can see is, I'm going to get more money back on my taxes if I stay head of household.
JB, I got a question.
Uh-huh.
I'm sort of coming in on the tail end of the topic, but there is something called, and I'm not totally certain if I'm saying it right to tenants in common, right to entireship or something like that. There's some
with rights of survivorship.
Yeah,
a married couple.
Explain that stuff.
Yeah, but the married people are the only ones that can have the ownership of the house with rights of survivorship. The And then in some states, I don't know if that's in all states, but in the state that I'm in right now, you know what I mean? And I looked it up for a client the other day because they're the only ones that can have it, but they don't have to have it. So I have a client, they're married, and their lawyer put on their title of their house joint tenants. And her husband died, and he has children from a previous marriage. That's
All right.
That's a problem. And the lawyers made a mistake, but he's gone. You don't find out this stuff because you got to know. Like they would have had to do the paperwork and be in AfroEconomics and show me the paper. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe I would have noticed, Lord, this lawyer made a mistake. It should have been with rights of survivorship. So a married couple doesn't have to have rights of survivorship, but they're the only ones that can get it, you know, in some states. So the state that we're in, they had to be married in order to get rights of survivorship, meaning the asset passes directly to her.
All right. So
But with joint tenants, it passes to, half of it passes to her and half of it passes to him. So because he has children, she doesn't. You know what I'm saying? His half, it goes to her and them.
all right, what is it called when you, like, let's say you have a CD at the bank or a money market or whatever, and you got a side piece or whatever. You want to throw that person's name on that particular type of investment. There's a form or something that I've heard explained, but I just don't remember the title of it.
Yeah, you go in the bank and you say, I want to make sure when I die, it pays to this person. They might call it transfer on death. They might
Transfer on death benefit.
They might call
Okay.
it payable upon death. But it's better to tell them what you want than to say the name of that form. You know what I mean? And then they call it payable upon death, but you said transfer upon death. You know what? Just, I want this to happen with that account. Easily can be done. Yep. Even with brokerage accounts. I do, payable upon death. On brokerage accounts, IRAs don't need them because they have beneficiaries. So, but yeah, those are, things that could, like, what we were talking about. Like, so if somebody dies and they don't leave you anything, that's because they didn't want to. No, because it could have been done. Or while they're alive, you all could have set up a joint account. Like, you can have a joint, account from the beginning. So that joint checking account will become whoever's. It's different law than real estate.
Okay.
Joint account transfers right over. So, but we have to know those laws. And that's why the benefits of, AfroEconomics are huge. Because I think, there's a lot of talk about prenuptial agreements. And, but I don't really know. He said there was if there was a homeowner's discount for married couples, the world would go crazy. You know what I'm saying? It would become political real quick. Like,
when we get married more, you want marriage rates to increase?
You can't have a marriage penalty. You know what I'm saying? They did get rid of the marriage penalty in 2017, but they didn't. And that's kind of really what the Supreme Court did with this thing, where they keep saying the Supreme Court got rid of affirmative action. They did not. They did not. They said you cannot be discriminated against because of your race. That could benefit black people, but because the media is saying they got rid of affirmative action, we're really actually falling for it. Instead of us reading that it said that schools should not consider race as a reason to not admit someone.
But you can still put it in your essay as a reason why you want to go to the school, and they will still consider that for now.
But they didn't say that they can't admit black people because they're black. It just said you cannot not admit black people because they're black. That's all it was saying, was telling them what they couldn't do. You know what I'm saying? It didn't say really what you can do at all. It was saying you can't, like when my dad applied to University of Virginia, where I went, when he applied, University of Virginia said, you are qualified to come here, but we want to pay you to go wherever you want to go, but not here. That's what they said in that's illegal. Affirmative action is totally different than what they said. Affirmative action is to help those who have been disadvantaged, and that's why. That particular Supreme Court ruling had nothing to do with affirmative action. We can you know what I mean? We can say that, but from a legal perspective, if they don't say it, that's not what it is.
I just found it funny that they now think that because of this is not going to happen without affirmative action, there are not going to be any more black lawyers or doctors.
Isn't that sick?
There are other schools.
Isn't that sick? When like somebody, you know, my tutor, which is a black man with a PhD, you know, we got enough black PhDs. All these black people getting PhDs to have multiple colleges and everything. We could get them to work. Like, if anything, this should be a rise up and a revolution of like, oh, you know, if y'all feel that way, then what we gonna do about it? Then come here. Then come here. Then come here to my school.
I went to an HBCU.
Come to AfroEconomics University. Like, you know, we do everything we can, unfortunately, to avoid being around black people and associated with black things, that we're afraid that this Asian guy, looking out for himself, we could have done the same thing if we could prove that somebody did not admit us because we're black. But we're too busy thinking that we're, you know what I mean, they got to give us some sort of a percentage of black people in order for, when they benefit more by us being there than we benefit from being there. There is nothing special about that. I literally believe that when back in the day, when we really cared about educating ourselves, you know what I'm saying, that we really were getting a better education. Now we're going and just buying these titles, you know, feeling like if I go to this school, then I'll be, like you said, I can't get on the Supreme Court. Where, you know, where Oliver Hill, or where he didn't go to Harvard, like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if that is true, then that's a greater concern for black colleges. Like, that's what, you know, but Virginia State University made a statement in a historically black college, and their statement was, we don't have a preference on race, creed, or whatever. He said the same thing. He said the exact same thing that the Supreme Court just said. But that was a statement? That was a statement? He must have been afraid that the state of Virginia was going to say something. So when we're in a position to make a statement, we can't be afraid to make a statement. We literally have the president of the University of Virginia being more aggressive about diversity, you know what I'm saying, and the need for black people than our own black school. Feels like it can't say that. I would have come out there giving me the opportunity to be over some black school. At that point, I've been like, look, all blacks are welcome here. If y'all feel like this is, well, then you know what? Next time you get 1,600 on your SAT, apply here. Check this off. Check this school off. Because we deserve the best and the brightest. Come out of here. Because we have educated the best and the brightest. But, like, you know, we felt like, but if we're going to be afraid, then there's no, you know, there's no hope. Like, I mean, what's the point of saying, like I was saying about when Dion left the HBCU and went to Colorado, you know, I was like, what we should realize is that what did the historically black college do to help Dion? He made a commitment to you. What have we done, you know what I mean, to help Dion? This man's losing his foot. You know what I mean? He's sitting there wasting what might be the last years of his life. You know what I'm saying? And we can't make sure that we go by his contract. We got to love each other. We got to love each other. We shouldn't expect him to sacrifice, you know what I mean, his life. He got kids and everything like that. You know what I mean? No, we need to make sure that we're treating our own right. That's what we got to do. And when our kids go to the school, they have to be not standing in line, waiting for registration for 3 days, not getting their class, not getting the dorm, we need to fight to stay away from those stereotypes. Literally fight. When they walk in, it should be, hi, good morning, how you doing today? We should not be frowning at our kids, you know? Like, and you know, it should be like that. Like, it should be like, they should feel like this is the best experience. But unfortunately, you know, people are graduating from our own schools and are feeling like that was the most unorganized, you know, experience of my life. Now I can't get a job. Now I can't, like, I would make sure that all of the graduates, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's where we need some affirmative action. We need to affirm that we're going to take care of these kids and they're going to get out and they're going to get jobs and they're going to pay the school loan back. Do you know, Wall Street Journal ran an article and they were just, you know, saying that kids from HBCUs do not pay their school loan back.
That's terrible.
That ain't right. I mean, they have it and had it in the newspaper.
I remember getting an email, and a female phone call. They were asking us, well, how we were doing after school. Were we working in our careers? Can you take this survey? Would you like to speak to a I remember getting that. I guess exit counseling or something like that after graduation. It wasn't immediately after graduating. It was almost 6 months to a year after they reached, because my number was still registered with the school and I had the same phone number. They had reached out to me asking us how we were doing after school. But I don't know if I can't say that for everyone. I know I had that experience.
Yeah. But it's not even enough. That was just to check off a survey. More importantly, you should have left, you know what I mean, with a job, like that kind of stuff. And like what hurts me is that I didn't get to go to Howard University because they didn't have a dorm for me. Mm-hmm. And I applied early.
Howard.
And I applied early, and it was the only school I applied to. And they, without remorse, with like a month left in high school, wrote me a letter and said, we have no dorm for you. Get an apartment. And my father was like, I can't afford an apartment in D.C. I can't do that. Like, and he was like, and I don't know what you're going to do, and figure it out. 4 weeks left. It was like, and then my counselor said, have you ever heard of University of Virginia? And I had never heard of the school because all my father had ever worked at were HBCUs. My father was president of an HBCU right then. And he wasn't making enough to pay for that. And they have 4 kids. And then for me to do that, but that's all I knew. And look at how they lost me. And I had to go by default. And when I tell people that like, by the grace of God, University of Virginia accepted me, like, you know, it was the most of those kids at University of Virginia, that was their Howard. That's, you know what I mean? They wanted to go there so bad. That's what they dreamed about, like I did with Howard. That's all I wanted to go. And then when I would come home, my sister would go, you go to that white school? Because what? She was at Howard. She had full scholarship, everything. She had it going on. And my parents let her torture me like that too. You at that white school, like everybody knew that I was doing what I had to do because that's all my loan could afford. And my dad was like, and you ain't coming here to where I work. Too political.
Well, I'm going to have to stand up for my school.
Yep.
So this is what we have. And so this registry,
I don't know
it
what
has
you're
our
talking
names. It doesn't tell how much money, we've actually given and so forth, but it does have my name here. It has my job title, as I've told them my job title was at the time they asked. So we have this, nice booklet that was sent, no cost, no charge. Yeah, I am a contributor, and that's
about. What
probably
is your point? Is that an
That
HBCU or what?
this is an HBCU. This is Dillard University.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
okay.
my point.
Exactly. I was like, what? I can't even see. We all can't see. I don't think nobody can see. 20. But that's nice. So they have a book they made for people that made contributions.
I would say you kind of probably got this, but they reached out, just like you were saying, your school.
yeah.
Yeah, they reached out and sent a form with a list of questions, and so I responded to this. This was years ago.
Oh,
So
you saying
Fam
it's
did
just a
this. FAMU did
directory?
this.
Oh,
FAMU
it's
did do this. Yeah,
a
FAMU did this.
directory.
Yes.
yeah, so here
A
it is.
directory. They printed that out recently?
I got this last year, and
Who
it's
in
a
the
nice.
world? See how we waste money? But
Yeah.
who in the world is printing out books anymore? You
Well,
tell them that they could have saved at least $10,000 by not printing that book out.
okay,
But
but
nobody's looking at the, you know what I'm saying? And they could have educated a kid with that book, with the print, and they sent that to y'all. You better
yeah,
have paid for it. You paid for
I
it?
probably have paid for it, but
You
I
better
appreciate
have.
actually having this.
Yeah.
I'm old school, so I really
But they should have
appreciate.
done that online, though. Do you know how much cheaper that would have been?
You know what? If it had been online, I would have never paid any
Oh,
attention to it
Rita.
other than looking up my very own name. Other than that,
True, but that
yeah.
was a waste of money. Unless
Well, you
you
know what?
specifically said, I'm going to give you $1,000. Like for University of Virginia to print out something like that, it would have to be like $1,000
You know what?
or
I'm
more
glad they
that you
did it.
gave.
Yeah, I'm
But
glad to see.
but the information is more secure if you do it online and make people get passwords or something to get to it. You know
Now,
what I mean?
it doesn't
After
have, like your bank account number or anything like that. It's
But
just got
my name.
yeah,
Let me
and
tell
then
my name.
my
That's Dateline. That's Dateline stuff.
I'm gonna say,
They be find out now they know where you live, where you work, where you know what I'm saying? I'll be like, look, don't you put that stuff out there in print.
and guess what?
What?
I'm quite fine with it.
I know.
Quite fine.
Because you don't know. You scared. You gonna be scared tonight.
No, I'm not.
But yes, you are. You know you scared. Oh, that's
Not
right.
at all.
Well, you got that whole, what is that called? Arsenal. Oh, you got a whole arsenal up in there.
Not at all.
But for the average person, we don't want we do not want it like we do. But most important, like I know how much it costs to print that book. That is a lot of money, though.
JB,
But-
I don't care. Okay,
but-
I accept this with great pride. Let me
if
tell
they
you
send-
that.
I know
okay?
exactly. But if they send it to you and it has like a form to send back money or something. But I do feel like economically we missed the boat on a lot of stuff, though. You know what I mean? We do have to tell the truth. Like there's a lot of things that we do as a community that we could say, you know what I mean, that we could do that would be more efficiently and lead to more down the road and more possibilities if we use technology appropriately, because it's like that is real old school. No, I know you find value in it, but I'm just saying, like that's real old school and very expensive because
Okay.
it's old school.
In December, I'm gonna show you old school. It's coming at you just like
Good,
this.
good,
Okay.
good. Exactly.
Mr. Jones, I'm sick of her. Okay,
Exactly.
I am sick of her.
You know you're gonna be writing them tomorrow. Like, look, how much
No,
that
I'm
cost
not.
for y'all to print that out?
I'm gonna say,
we could have educated a child with that money.
look, wait a minute, Mr.
exactly.
Jones, I want another edition, okay? And send JB Bryan one at the same time.
Exactly. I know. I already told y'all. That's why I'm single.
Yeah. I am sick of you, JB. I am sick of you.
Don't get no woman that's smart, because she always come with something. I know. That's how my ex used to look at me. I come with some idea. He would look at me like, oh, whatever. Here she come. I don't care that it's a good idea. I just don't want any ideas right now. You know what I'm saying? When they give you that look, like, don't come with the ideas. I just want a dumb, stupid, simple woman. A dumb, stupid, woman. Simple, stupid woman. With a wig, please. But what? What do y'all do? Like, go and get a smart woman. That's why I stay to myself. Don't. But that is true, though. I think that from a marriage perspective, we're talking about something serious there. Like, and unless people look at it like old school as the contract, as the business, you know, that other stuff can be wishy-washy. No, like if everybody looked at their marriage and said, oh, this is a business, you know, imagine if, you know, the guy over Amazon, Steve Jobs, he said, you know, babe, we got to work this out because we got like $10 billion on the road, you know, on the line. let's just look at it this way, you know, but we don't. Now, socially, we have changed it to a love issue, or if I get along, or if this person irritates me, you know, you don't look at it as, wow, this person is intelligent and we could accomplish these things together. And, you know, even though they're irritating, they're always looking out for me. You know, how do we get past that, or are you able to get past that? No. Because a marriage that can get past it and look at it as we're good together. We have this, when I did this couples discussion about money one time, my thing was for them is, what is the best thing that your partner does financially? What is their pro? And they just loved it. And I just went around the room and they was like, he is so-and-so and so. Oh, she is so-and-so. Oh, he is so-and-so. He's so-and-so. I bet they probably, that was like almost 15 years ago now, at a client's house. And they just invited a whole bunch of their friends over and we just had that talk. And but I think we just focused on like, what are the good stuff about each other? Or if you're single, focus on what is the good thing about being single. You know, how can I maximize this life experience where I am now, because we're not where we are by accident. Do you enjoy being single, Mr. Jones?
Hell yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
I sleep better. I'm gaining weight. I'm working out. I've never felt better in my fucking life. I'm serious.
You gaining muscle. Exactly. I noticed that. I noticed that about you right here in them shoulders. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yes. Stand up. I'm just joking. No. Exactly. I know that's right. But I think that, and maximize the advantages to that. Like I was telling a lady today that she's single, approaching retirement, and then she was saying, I told some family members, let's get this property together. And I told her, I was like, be careful with that, because you being single, you can put your money anywhere. But if you do a vacation home with them, you know, they're going to be able to use it a lot more. So you're really kind of helping them, like where you're going to be like, I don't really want to go there every time, because you can go anywhere. And I was like, but people with children, they'll be all right going to the same spot every summer until them kids get old. Right? So like, but when you're free, so take advantage of, like, you know, the statistics say married people have more money. They accumulate more assets. They should, because they have at least two people to take care of. But they got to take care of each other. So a single person, that all you have to do is make sure that you're taking care of yourself properly, that you're preparing for yourself. I don't know how, but why single people always think that if they had someone else, especially single women, like we've been socialized to think that if you had someone else, that they would automatically help you, that your situation would be so different. No, but no, you're in total control, married or single, we're in total control of our life. We have to make it the best that it is. And for most people, even if you meet someone down the road, they want you to be equipped. They want you to be prepared. You have to be prepared and get everything about yourself in order to meet that person. But because if you don't, you're ready. If you do, you're ready. But you're bringing a quality financial life to the table, to that person. And then you really start getting picky if you're smart. Right? So if you have any questions about this topic, anything about, marriage and different, I tried to throw in our discussion a lot of the tax benefits of being married. There are easy to say that there's more benefits for people financially from being married. But there's also the challenge of how financially destructive it could be if you get married to the wrong person and have to go through a divorce. That could be devastating. So there's pros and cons to everything. And the prenuptial, I kind of thought we didn't really get to share, but I would just want to share in that I just don't believe that contracts really hold up anymore. You see these people in Hollywood that had all these prenuptial agreements and they still have a hard time getting a divorce. So contracts seem like they're just written to be broken. No, so just know that if you need the prenuptial agreement, make sure that you take it seriously. I don't want to say, like, if you need a prenuptial agreement, you don't want to get married, but I think a lot of people, even married people, if there's anything that I could have, I would want a non-disclosure agreement, even in marriage. That no matter what, if we break up at any point, you can't say nothing about me. Like, right? Especially if I was like a superstar, like that. And so I think that NDAs are becoming really popular now. Like, I don't know, have y'all heard of those? The non-disclosure agreements, yeah. Like, but because that would be, if someone signed that while you're married, while you're dating, then they definitely would be willing to do a prenuptial agreement. But I've seen some people, break up because of that. Oh, you so sweet, Mr. Jones. You asked, Twala, and I think it's a Mr. too. Twalabu. I think I said your last name right. What y'all think? Can you say that? Can you see his name? You can't see it. But you can't see the people, can you? Can you see the comments?
Twalibu.
Oh, that is good though. That sounds more African. Mine sound kind of Southern. Say Twalabu. Yeah,
sometimes, not always.
Okay.
It's all right. What is? Say it again. I like that. Twalibu. I think that's it, Mr. Twalibu. I would have never said that. He's like, Twalabu. Why gotta be that? Oh, Mr. Strong. I did not know that was you. I thought it was you, but then I was like, I'm not sure. You should have been in the studio. Come on, Twalibu. You got to teach me how to say your name first.
Twalibu.
And But I was gonna say, it's a I'm gonna type it, non-disclosure agreement, meaning you can't tell nothing about you, or if y'all break up, or even while you're in it. I think that guy. Did you see that guy that was in the Rocky movie? Um, he his girlfriend might get arrested. The one that accused him of something, because he wouldn't give her the
Oh,
phone. Yeah, she might get in trouble now.
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, like she's like, I think they're gonna drop his Twalibu. That's how you said too. That's how he said it. That's how you said it, didn't you? Twalibu. That's so good. Thank you. Phonetics for the sister. Yes, indeed. So, but non-disclosure agreement is something that we need to do because a lot of damage can be done way before you get to that. I mean, Tiger Woods, I think, like had a really weak counsel around him. And Nguvu, Twalibu. I love it.
It's nice.
What does that mean? Nguvu, Twalibu. Oh, I sound like I really know what I'm talking about. My phone started talking. It likes it. It speaks that language. What language is that? My phone started talking to me. Nguvu Twalibu. Yes, indeed. You see, Friday morning, Mr. Jones and Mr. Strong, I expect both of y'all in our members only meeting on Friday morning. And we'll talk more about non-disclosure agreements, prenuptials for both of y'all single men. Y'all be at the door with it. Look, my financial advisor said you had to sign this. Exactly. But this man told me that he gave it to his fiance and she called off the wedding over a prenuptial. Yep. Dude was like, nah. Never know. Strong seeker of knowledge. That is you. And Nguvu Twalibu. Strong seeker of knowledge. Yes, indeed. I don't know. My phone is like, y'all better be careful with these phones. It's like collecting. It is like just so every time I say his name, that it like activates the Google. It might mean hey Google, Mr. Strong. It's like my name does not mean hey ho Google. Actually, yes it does. Yes it does. But I'm gonna tell you though, we're gonna but we're gonna continue to talk about this topic, which I should have talked about a long time ago, really. Just on the tax differences, the tax advantages and advantages or disadvantages, and how we can better look out for each other. And then next time I might do it with an emphasis on being single, I guess. This time we focus on but every time we're talking about, single, really, because, we don't really we never even talked about marital status, but things are different, and things, things are looked at differently, but they're done as much as they can to allow two people with high income to be married. Before, you would be hurt if both of you had a really high income, but they've made an adjustment. So there is, from as far as an income tax perspective, not much of a tax disadvantage until we get down into some itemization. There are things that in the itemizing where you're going to have a total of a certain amount that you could write off as a couple, which is the same amount that a single person could write off. So there are some disadvantages from that perspective. But overall, happily married people have a big benefit. But the key word there is what? What's the key word?
Oh,
Happily.
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 And no side piece. Oh, oh, my goodness. He left home. Not y'all. Happy. That's right. So you won't have no side piece. Oh my goodness. Pokey song. Oh. We don't like that. Uh-oh.
I hear this so much.
I don't. Thank goodness. I'm just listening to the beat. Uh-oh, she don't. He ain't coming home till 3? Yeah, you wrong. You say he wrong. Big Daddy's home. Happily. That's right. Happy marriage. He happy. See that song? I'm telling you. Ain't nothing but the devil. Ain't nothing but the devil. Any other night, y'all be like, all right, good night, JB. Y'all want to hear that song? Y'all want to hear that nasty song? Y'all want to hear that song? We got to stop it. We got to stop it. I started off with some Luther. That's what we need. And the house is not a home with no one sitting there. Look, then that'll get me sad. See? You don't want to hear about that love. You don't want to hear about that love. Exactly. You want to hear about it. But you gonna listen. Love. All right, be good. I love y'all.
Right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Night.
I'm glad you got in.
Yep. Night.
Bye-bye. Queen Howard, you like that groove too? Good, Rosita. It's a bad song. It's a bad song. Y'all be good. Bye-bye now. That's right. Make that house a home. All right. Love you, Mr. Jenkins. Who he wouldn't have made it in without you. Oh, I love you. Good night, Miss Sally Brown. Love you back. God is good. Yes, indeed.
A chair is still a chair.
Good night. Amen.
Even when there's no one.
Good night, family. I love you.
Sitting there.
God bless you. Love you, Queen Howard.
But a child is not a house, and a house is not a home when there's no one there to hold you tight.